We're going to continue this conversation right now and take a closer look at COVID's impact on air travel and the challenges that the industry frontline workers are still facing. I want to welcome to this conversation Sara Nelson, International President of the Association on Flight Attendants, the union that represents nearly 50,000 flight attendants across 19 airlines. Good morning to you. How concerned are your members, especially when it comes to flying in and out of cities in states like Arizona, Texas, and Florida right now?
Well, we're very concerned. We're concerned about the health ramifications, and we have been since the end of December. And we have been asking the federal government to come forward with a plan that keeps everyone safe. You know, the supply chains have made it impossible for us to have the proper protection for crews and 95 masks, for example. There's not even enough for the workers on the front lines of the healthcare professions. And the airlines have done what they can. They've instituted these mask policies. But there's not a federal mandate behind that. People don't take it as seriously. They're not properly instructed on how to wear the masks. And so we see people with them sort of half on, underneath their noses, all kinds of disparities. And they've been told that this is a political issue instead of a public health issue. So we're left on the front lines to deal with this, and it puts us at risk, and it also puts our jobs at risk.
So let me ask you, Delta Airlines CEO Ed Bastian said that Delta will not be forcibly removing passengers who don't wear their masks. What do you think of that decision?
I don't think it's a great one. I think that I have some empathy there because the federal government is not backing this up, and that's really what we need here. I just flew on Delta yesterday. Actually, they did a very good job with social distancing and messages, and everyone was wearing masks, and it was very orderly. But it is very important to send a clear message to the traveling public that this is an expectation and there will be consequences if people do not follow this instructions. Every single person has to be wearing a mask in order for this to work. And this is really important. As we saw yesterday, the European Union is talking about not allowing American travelers to come back. We just saw Phil LeBeau talk about the fact that travel is down 81%. So we're talking about it rebounding a little bit, but people are not, we have to be realistic about this. This is not sustainable. The airlines are going out and trying to get cash. They're going to be burning through that this year. They're trying to do everything they can. But the federal government has put us in a position here where our jobs are much more at risk. The airline industry is much more at risk because they have not taken these health concerns seriously and taken in place simple procedures to inform the traveling public, simple procedures to keep all of us safe in air travel where we cannot properly socially distance.
Sara, do you think that your union is aligned with the managements of the major airlines in America right now? Because I'm hearing what you're saying very loud and clear. I'm not necessarily hearing it from the CEOs of the large airlines directly to the federal government on this issue.
I think that the CEOs of the major airlines are in a tough spot because they need to work with the administration. Let me just call it out right now. We are on the front lines. We are the people who are having to face this. Flight attendants have to go to work as essential workers, and also our jobs are on the line here. 11 million people count on the airline industry for their jobs. So we're talking about the unemployment rolls increasing if they don't get this right. We have job security through the end of September. We need an extension of that because the federal government has not handled this properly, and we're going to see mass layoffs in October, the last jobs report before the election, if this is not extended. But also, if they don't take matters into their own hands right now, the FAA, DOT can put in place health guidelines for the traveling public to protect the airline industry, to protect the traveling public, and to protect millions of jobs.
Sara, can you tell us, of your 50,000 members, how many have contracted COVID?
We've had hundreds of cases of COVID. We have had 10 flight attendants who have died because of COVID. But we've also had other flight attendants who have suffered severely and have said, please take this seriously, take this seriously. If they do not have proper safety procedures in place that are enforced, that everyone understands, and we're treating this as though we're all in this together, then the risk is too great. People have suffered really greatly for this. And you know, flight attendants are very concerned right now about the stability of the airline industry. We are used to flying to every corner of this earth. We represent the best of what America is. And right now, the rest of the world is saying, we may not even accept you because you're not taking the basic steps that the rest of the world recognizes we need to take to keep people safe and get this under control.
What percentage of your members are saying, you know what, we are not going to work right now, either because of an age issue, because of comorbidities, or other preconditions?
Yeah, there are approximately 20% who are in a condition where either they themselves have health conditions that they're very high risk and the risk is too great. There are others who are very concerned and still going to work and have people at home and they're concerned about what they're bringing home. But we also have a whole group of flight attendants and other aviation workers who actually can't get on the job. And the only reason that they still are getting a paycheck, even though it's about half of what they're used to because they've lost their overtime hours, they're still getting a paycheck because of the CARES Act and because we were the only industry that actually worked to get a relief package that focuses that money directly on the front lines to pay and benefits for the workers to keep us on the job and out of the unemployment lines. So we have flight attendants who are sitting at home, waiting by the phone, waiting to be called to go to work, sometimes going to the airport and waiting to get called onto a flight, but there's simply not enough work to go around. And without this relief and ensuring that we're continuing to get a paycheck, we would be out of work.
Sara, maybe there's a political question, maybe there's a philosophical question, and boy, do I want all of your people to be employed and never have to go on the unemployment rolls. But there are lots of people, obviously, throughout this country that are on the unemployment rolls right now that are not getting the benefit of this type of government assistance. What do you tell them about why your employees should be perhaps considered a special class?
Actually, I don't think that we're a special class at all. This is a program that we promoted, and we have actually supported that with Congresswoman Jayapal's bill and Mark Warner, who's going to be on in a little bit, and Bernie Sanders in the Senate. And this is something that can be applied to every other industry as well. The best thing to do here is essentially freeze the economy, keep people in their jobs as much as possible, continuing through this paycheck program, and keep them connected to their health care during a pandemic. It is the best way to preserve our economy, preserve jobs, and to bring down those unemployment numbers. It's the best way for us to bounce back as well. But let me also note that in the airline industry, we have certifications, we have security clearances. If you put people out of work, in order to build that business back up, if there suddenly is a demand, if we suddenly get the virus under control, the airline industry will have a much harder time bouncing back. And it is the backbone of the rest of the economy. We bring those goods and services. We bring people to Disneyland. We bring people together for business meetings. And so it's critically important that we keep people in place with their credentials and able to get back to work.
Sara, we always appreciate talking to you. We appreciate you coming on this morning, and we hope to have you back very, very soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.